how's it going? This is Joe Intel, and today I'm going to be taking a look at some speakers from BenQ, the TreVolo 2s. So these are some very interesting speakers. They're Bluetooth speakers, but they are an electrostatic design. These are probably the smallest electrostatic speakers that they make, that anybody makes. If you don't know, electrostatic speakers are a little bit different than most typical speaker designs. They have a different sound to them, they have less distortion, and they're typically very huge. Here are some speakers from Martin Logan and Quad, and you can see how big they are. Now these are tiny. So let me go over some of the features on this Bluetooth speaker. So the first thing is that it allows stereo pairing. So BenQ sent me 2 of these to review, so thank you to BenQ for sending these out, and thank you for sending me 2 of them because stereo makes a huge difference. The other thing is that they're self-powered. They have a battery so you can take them anywhere, and they claim 12 hours of battery life. The other thing that I like is on the app, it shows how much battery life each speaker has. So BenQ also sent these cool stands, and it's just cool that they actually make stands for Bluetooth speakers. That's pretty awesome. Now, in my opinion, I think that these look pretty cool. They're pretty compact. They have some weight to them, but they do fold up in case you want to bring them somewhere. Now, they have a DAC so you can plug them directly into the computer. That's not how I use them, and I'll explain in a little bit why I did that. The other thing is that it can be used as a speakerphone to make and receive calls because they do have built-in mics. They also have dedicated buttons to start and stop calls. So flanking the sides, you'll see the electrostatic speakers, and these are the parts that fold in and out. Behind that, you'll see dual passive radiators. On the front, you'll see 2 2-inch drivers, and these are quad amplified. That's pretty amazing for something that's in a Bluetooth speaker and something that's this size. Probably one of my favorite features on this is that it does have a line out so you can connect it to a subwoofer. That is awesome. Now, as far as sound quality, so these electrostatic speakers, they have a quality about them where they have very low distortion, and that's what they talk about on their website here. And that is something I noticed. They do sound very clean. So the way I would describe it is typically a tweeter is like 3/4 inches or an inch. These are just like having huge tweeters. That's the best way I can describe it. A tweeter that has a large surface area. So the dispersion pattern is a little bit different. It just sounds a little bit different than typical speakers. I've found that placement is very important on these. Depending on how you tilt it will really determine how it sounds. Play around with that. The other thing is that I noticed that they have very, very good imaging and Soundstage. Now that's not something I'm typically used to talking about when I'm talking about Bluetooth speakers. Because there's 2 of them here, I did notice that having them on a desk, they can sound big. Now, of course, they're not going to dig down deep. They don't have enough surface area on the woofers. I decided to connect the sub, and it made a huge difference. I think that's the way that I would want to have these set up on my desk. The soundstage was wide, so it sounded like instruments were coming from outside of the speakers, and they were tonally accurate. Now, they claim that these speakers can go from 60 Hz to 20 kHz, but from my testing, they fall off pretty heavily below 90 Hz. And that's understandable. So yeah, don't use these expecting them to have a ton of bass. They're not for loud, bass heavy music. Maybe something more for like classical music. Maybe something more with vocals, things like that. So earlier I said that you can use a DAC to connect them directly to the computer. But what I did notice is by using the DAC, there was a significant latency. So it would be hard to watch stuff like YouTube videos and Netflix movies because the audio would be out of sync with what I was seeing on the screen. The good thing is that via Bluetooth, I didn't experience any of those issues. There was little to no latency that I noticed. These also have a line input, so you can also connect it via the line in 3.5mm jack from your computer or phone. So this also has 3 different DSP modes, from pure, which is a flatter sound signature, to warm, which is rolled off highs, and vivid, which has brighter highs. What I found is I preferred vivid because for my measurement, that actually measured the flattest out of the 3. These are relatively expensive speakers, so definitely not cheap speakers. They're not budget speakers whatsoever, especially considering that these are supposed to be Bluetooth speakers. I do understand that there's a lot of technology that went into this, probably a lot of research and development to get electrostatic speakers that are this size, that are quad amplified. Everything is well thought out. They're very well built. That's the thing. These are a very specific use case. If you're looking for the best possible Bluetooth speakers, you might have some other options there that are also portable. Some of those other speakers may play louder. If you're looking for some desktop speakers, you'll probably be able to find some less expensive speakers that might be a little bit bigger, but they'll be able to play louder with more bass. So who's this for? Ballers. No, I'm just kidding. They're for somebody who is willing to spend on this specific type of speaker. Somebody who definitely wants an electrostatic speaker that's portable, that allows stereo pairing, that allows you to connect the subwoofer if you want to. For somebody who's not going to be listening to bass heavy music, so somebody who's going to use them at their desk, they want to be able to take them outside and still have 2 speakers so they can have a stereo image. So honestly, I didn't know that BenQ actually even made speakers. This is the first time I've heard of that. They sent them to me, and so far I'm pretty impressed. So a message to BenQ, you guys make awesome projectors. The HT2050 that I have at my house, I love it. I'm glad that you're venturing into speakers. I would say just continue on. I'm curious to see what else you guys have going on. We'll have to see what they come up with, but so far, pretty good, pretty interesting. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And if you're interested in my podcast, it's at patreon.com/JoeAndTell. Anyway, that's it. Take care. Bye-bye.
In a shadow drew again.